Okay, that's 11 o'clock. Let's get going. So welcome everyone to accessplanit's product update for Q1. Today we'll be going through the new features, functionality and improvements that we've released so far this year. And then we'll have a run through of the features that are coming soon, some sooner than others, and we'll have a Q&A at the end of the session. So as we go, please pop your questions in the chat, and my lovely assistant Lauren will kind of feed those to me at the end. So let's get going. So let's start with January. So we released our first update of 2022 in the last week of January. That included our new integration with Google Calendar, 3 major new features in our API feeds, and updates to placeholders in workflows. So our major update in January was an entirely new module. This is a direct integration with Google Calendar, and it really allows you to synchronize your trainers' accessplanit calendars with their Google Calendar. Now, per trainer, you can choose to push calendar appointments from accessplanit into their Google Calendar. You can pull information from their Google Calendar into their accessplanit calendar, or both. You can have it go both ways. So if you use Google within your organization, this module is a huge help. It just really helps streamline your operations, gives you kind of real-time visibility of what's going on in your trainers' diaries. So that's Google. The next one was 3 major updates to APIs this quarter. So you can now set up an integration to add courses and venues into your accessplanit platform, and you can also allow an integration to edit venues that already exist in your accessplanit platform. So these additions are really helpful if you've been looking to integrate with a CRM, maybe a sales platform, or a VLE like Totara, or an event kind of venue management system. So for example, any in-house courses that you have had created in HubSpot could now be sent over to your accessplanit platform for an admin to take over and manage. Or if you've got a new venue created within a company-wide venue management software, then you can get that created in your accessplanit platform ready for those admins to use. And our final addition in January was an enhancement to placeholders in workflows. So essentially added in a lot more options into the rules for placeholders, so you can build more workflows for your booking users. So it's not just workflows, you can get to these extra options in obviously placeholder workflows, but also placeholder email templates and your placeholders data grid. And you can see on screen a few of them here. So we've got course end date is now available, the course template type, is it class web e-learning, the venue ID and the venue label, is the course sessional or not, the delivery method, is it in-house public, and also what's not included on the screenshot there is a course template ID and course template name. So these mean that you can build new workflows, such as a new placeholder bookings workflow for a specific course template, or you could have different placeholder booking workflows for sessional courses versus non-sessional. You could have custom workflows for public versus in-house courses for placeholders. The list really goes on. You could do so much more. Now, if you'd like any support with creating any new workflows, or you're kind of using these options, just get in touch with a member of our support team and they'll give you a hand with that. Cool. Okay, moving on to, well, February featured a lot of development work, but no releases. So we'll leap straight onto March for our second release of the year. And as it says there, in mid-March, our second release of the year went out to you all. The majority of the features in this release were for our new checkout basket, and that included the ability to email your customers who don't complete the basket, so they drop out before they finish the booking. Several user experience improvements and extra configuration options. And then finally, outside of the checkout, we complete some light improvements to products and services. So before I spend a lot of time talking about those checkout improvements, I just want to have a quick run through of what checkout is for those of you who haven't switched over to it yet or haven't seen it yet. So here at accessplanit, we've been working on the new shopping basket checkout for quite a while now. To give you a little bit of background, our current basket was really kind of cream of the crop in terms of online booking when it was first developed, but that was quite a few years ago, and since then there's been a lot of technical advancements, been a lot of change in buyer behavior. So for example, a lot of people now just exclusively search and buy courses from their phones. So therefore, we were putting a lot of time into kind of developing a new shopping basket, which is mobile friendly, It's much more user-friendly, it's a lot more modern, and of course it's quicker. So the project has been an evolving one. First of all, we focused on getting those core features ready. So being able to buy a course, being able to sign in, the obvious things that you need. And following that, we've incrementally been adding into the new checkout basket new features based on either their popularity with the current basket, or potentially features that aren't available in the current basket but have been asked about a lot. So actually the first of those in this release is something that isn't available in the current basket, and that is the ability to chase up abandoned baskets. So if you've seen our March release notes, you'll have seen the stats that shopping basket dropout rates across the internet can be as high as 70 to 80%. Now, a lot of that comes down to like how simple is your registration process, how easy is the booking process. However, it's pretty much a given that some of your customers will drop out of the booking process before the end. So with this new checkout feature, you can email your customers who drop out and don't complete. And with all workflow emails, this is driven out of the workflows tool. You can add in your own content, you can brand this up to reflect your business, entice your customers back. But there are 4 key elements that we strongly recommend including in this email. So the first of those is including the name of the booker. And I know that might seem really obvious because the name of the booker or the name of the recipient always goes at the top of the email. But we'd also suggest including it in the subject line. So like, Katie, complete your booking with us, or have you forgotten something, Katie? Because it just really demonstrates to the customer that they've got an existing relationship with you, whether they've bought from you before or not. They've found a product or a course of yours that they are interested enough in to have added it into their basket. So definitely include that one. The second is including the contents of the basket. And we've created a special merge field for you to include in your emails, which lists the items in the basket, along with the quantity, the cost, basically remind them what they're missing out on. Third, include the brand. I know I mentioned it before, but even if your prospective customer doesn't actually decide to go ahead with this particular booking, this email is like essentially free advertising, just reminding them who you are and that you exist. And finally, well, last but not least, is to include a clear call to action within the email. So either a link or a button to get straight to their basket so they can continue their booking without having to leave their inbox. In our March release, we've also added in the ability to change the date format within the basket and include a time zone. Of course, this is very useful if you operate in a few different countries or you have webinars attended by people all around the world. So if we take a look at this How to Be Awesome course that ran last month, the top example here is a course with the default date format. However, with the new options, you can change the basket to include the month. And in this, this example also includes that time zone. And within the next option, we can include the day as well. But as you can see on the left, there are loads more options you can choose from, including a US date format. The next one is updates to the remove option. Now, this actually came directly from user feedback from our customers and our internal team who've been using the new checkout basket. And the feedback was that the remove option was not easy enough to find. And also that it would be helpful to have like a confirmation. So when you click remove, to just confirm that you would actually like to remove this course. So we do need to be quite careful with options like this, that we don't make them too eye-catching or distracting on the page, as it's not really the main thing people come to do when they're looking at the basket. But we certainly don't want anyone frustrated because they cannot find the remove option and potentially dropping out of the entire booking because they can't get rid of one of the courses. So we've increased the size slightly, we've added a supporting icon, we've changed the color to match standards, and just really let this option stand out a lot more. And then in addition to that, we've added a little confirm pop-up so that any accidental clicks can be ignored, and the user just needs to click again to remove the course. And I'll be honest, it's weirdly a bit fun to use, actually. Now this one, the default country, is probably not the most exciting feature, but it's definitely a time saver. So if the vast majority of your customers all book from the same country, then you can now select a default country to be populated in all of those country options throughout the checkout basket. So this simply saves a few clicks, but we all know how long those country drop-down boxes can be. So cool. And the final addition to checkout in March was an inline password validation message. I just want to apologize for the fuzzy image for this one, but it's a lot easier to show you this using a GIF than a fixed image. So where this came from is we noticed that to make the registration process easier, some of our customers had added text kind of inline into their registration form to explain what their password policy is, just so that their new registrants could see what requirements their password needed to meet. So we've updated that kind of standard password option to dynamically display the password requirements that are based on your platform's password policy. And as you can see here, as each line is met, it turns green. Okay, moving on to the two final improvements in March, which are both product and service based. The first is really a quality of life improvement. So for any of you that have multiple training providers, when you're linking a product and service to your course, you could previously select any product and service, and regardless of who the training provider was. And you wouldn't know there was a problem until you've completed the form, clicked save, and then you would see a little error message letting you know you can't link those two together. So to save a little time, a little heartache, you can now only select the products and services that share the same provider as the course to begin with. So like I said, it's really just a quality of life improvement, that one. And a final addition to Q1, if you're already using the products and services module within your accessplanit platform, you might have noticed that you can now store an image against each of your products and services. While this isn't particularly interesting on its own, I'll be covering very shortly how this will be used. So that is a wrap for Q1. So I'll just quickly recap on those features and functionality. So we now have available a Google Calendar integration module for sharing trainer diary appointments, the ability to add and edit venues and courses through the API feeds, loads more options for placeholder-based workflows, the ability to kind of remind or chase your customers who abandon their checkout basket, lots of extra configuration and usability improvements in checkout, including the date formats, the time zones, the inline password validation, and the updated remove option. And we had some of those tweaks to products and services. So I'll move now into what's to come. Now, there are two major additions that we're currently working on within the checkout basket. The first of those is support for products and services. Now, this includes support for selling products and services on their own. So as you can see from the image there, selling a textbook, just at the bottom of that order summary, and hopefully the reason why we have images for products and services makes sense. But it also includes selling your products and services alongside your courses. So whether they are optional add-ons like the coaching exam and the first aid kit there, or a mandatory product and service like a booking fee, these will be displayed alongside their related courses for your customers to manage and purchase. The second addition coming soon is support for the payment gateway WorldPay. So that's joining Stripe, Opeo, PayPal. WorldPay will be our fourth payment gateway to be available in the new basket. And we're really expecting that these two additions will mean that lots more accessplanit customers can make the switch over to the new basket and start gaining those benefits. So if you're interested in switching and currently use either products and services or WorldPay or both, check out our switching guide. I'll put it in the chat later, just to see if there are any other features that are currently blocking you, or whether you'll be able to make the move once they are available. And then there's also several usability improvements coming for you training administrators too, so it's not all about checkout. So the first of these is a new option within your data grid filters to let you choose whether all of the conditions need to apply to the results, which is what it does now, or whether only one of the conditions needs to apply. So in the example there, you can see that I've built myself a filter to show me all of the users that have the job title of manager or chief or head of contained in their job title. So imagine that's quite good for things like e-campaigns. The second usability improvement for you guys is, it's quite a simple one, but hopefully quite helpful. So when you add a course, voucher, or a production service to your basket from within your accessplanit platform, there'll be a direct button to then go straight to your basket. And finally, this one's going to be a little while off because it affects so many accessplanit pages, but just to make your kind of clicking around and navigating to where you need to get to easily, we've added in, or we're adding in, some section menus along the top. So you can see on this page here, I'm looking at a user, and I've got my the sub menus are just underneath the account information where I can jump up and down the page. So if you're kind of anything like me and you love to like whiz around and get to things quickly, then you'll really like this. It's quite a joy, especially on those really long courses like class and web forms. Okay, that is absolutely everything. So are there any questions? Anything anyone would like to ask? Please pop it in the Q&A.
JD has asked, the abandoned basket, what if the course they have abandoned in their basket is since fully booked? Will the system be smart enough to either not send the email or not allow them to purchase?
Oh, it's a really good question. So JD on this, so it won't do that. It will pull through the merge field like with containing what they have in their basket currently, but there's a lot of best practice around abandoned basket emails, and that you should send them really around an hour to 2 hours after that basket has been abandoned. So that I would expect that probably isn't a scenario that would crop up too frequently, but it's a good point. It's something that we could factor into the future, so it's a really good question. Cool. Thanks, Lauren, by the way.
That's okay. The next question is from Helen, and she said, have you seen an improvement in the basket dropout rate since the update?
Oh, that's a really good question as well. So we haven't actually run the numbers on it yet. My gut feel is an absolute yes, just because the new basket is so much easier to use. And also I've seen improvements in areas that often cause problems in the current basket, and that's not really so much the basket itself, it's more like things like the registration form. So because the registration form is tends to be a lot slicker in the new basket, people aren't so put off from when they actually enter and start their booking. The new basket also has a really cool feature. I don't know if you'll have heard about this. It's called the manage booking step. So rather than capturing loads of information up front about the delegates and about the booker, you would capture your delegate information at the end of the shopping basket process where the booking is complete, payment has been taken. So that's a lot better for you guys because the basket experience is a lot quicker and you're not putting people off up front by asking reams of questions about them. But it's also better for the booking users as well, because if they don't know someone's date of birth, they can still complete that booking and provide that information later. And also it means that if they're really desperate for a place on the course, they can get through that booking a lot more rapidly. So no, I don't have the actual hard and fast numbers on it, but I'm quietly confident that there's a big improvement with the new basket.
Lovely. We don't seem to have any more questions at the moment, unless anyone else is typing away.